Welcome to Let's Talk Real Estate and Stuff. I am here today with our regular co-host, John Whitfield from Investor and Carrot and Investor Fuse. I have three and Carrot. And Carlos with the carrots in the background. We know where he's from. He's selling you the Carrot CRM and web services. And today we are blessed to have RJ Pepino with
Oh
us. Now
man.
listen, RJ comes, he's not new to this business. He's been in this for over a decade and a half. And if anybody knows anything about what we talk about on this show, that is a world and a lifetime of experience. He has done it all from wholesaling and flipping, and most recently has switched from wholesaling and BRRR to doing land contracts. And he now wants to share all of his knowledge, it's a decade and a half of knowledge, through his school programs. Fast Track with RJ. He is actually breaking it down from starting out at $500 and
Uh-oh.
showing you how to do real estate by starting at the very bottom. So I suggest you check out that link in his little bio over there, and John will post it, and you guys can check it out. But RJ, welcome to the show, my man. Thank you very much.
Thanks, BP. Thank you, Carlos, and everybody, John, for having me on. Quite an introduction. I'm happy to be here and share, my story or any lessons you guys ask me about real estate, business, life, all that in between stuff that happens to us. But yeah,
Well, real
thank you
estate
for.
is life.
It is. It is all life.
Yeah.
Real estate is just a vehicle that we use to make money and build wealth. But a lot of the stuff that we work on internally will show out outside
Yeah.
of us. But yeah, we're gonna be starting this challenge. Thanks for sharing that. Where we're basically gonna start from little to nothing and show people how they can do this on a bootstrap budget of $500. We were thinking of not even having any kind of money involved, but you need money for like gas. You gotta like
Little money
drive.
helps.
You know, you gotta have some money. To do this, but that's coming up. That's coming up. But if you want to, take a look at what we're doing, just hop on our school. We can give you details later. But thanks for having me, guys.
No
Thanks for
worries,
having me.
man.
It's a happy Friday to you guys.
A decade and a half is a lot of time in this business, and it's important that people understand, no matter, sometimes it's not about how much money you make or what path you choose in real estate, but when you stick around in the business of real estate, right, whether it's flipping, wholesaling, rentals, whatever it is, you learn so much through that becomes a wealth of knowledge in and of itself, not just the specific skill set you're teaching, whether it's land contracts or BRRR or wholesaling or whatever, innovations, whatever it is, right? There is so much, like you said, life in real estate that goes along with it that somebody who started 4 years ago or 5 years ago can't bother to help somebody that is learning from them or being mentored by somebody. You can't really pass that down unless you've gone through it. And
Yeah.
15 years, I mean, you've been through a couple cycles. You were through the down market, then you were through like the slow doldrums, and then we kind of went up and then down again, and then we hit COVID and we went up and down again. And so you've been through quite a bit. Where are you right now? Like, what is your primary focus?
Guys, we've had, yeah, you're right. There's up, down, sideways. It's crazy, and like you're saying, we're going from the burst strategy to a different strategy, and we couldn't have done it without, learning the hard way and learning all of those lessons and having to invest in ourselves and more education so that we can make pivots. And this is a big pivot right now because if anybody doesn't know or if they're doing real estate, they should see that, the prices did go up, but so did property taxes and so did insurance costs. And when those
Oh,
happen
what a
and
surprise.
you're still thinking like, oh, I can still do this
Yeah.
forever. No, the deals that were juicy prior to COVID when it was hot aren't there anymore, or they're there, but the sellers that are still motivated to sell also have to deal with the rise in increase of other costs associated with real estate. So if you're not equipped with other strategies and you're just a one trick pony, you're going to be hurting and probably out of business if you didn't invest in education to get into some more creative strategies right now, like what
Well,
we're having to do,
yeah, like
like contract.
uh, what is that?
It's basically, so what it is selling a house on a note to somebody else where you're arbitraging what you have into it for, because we still use private lenders. We've been using private lenders since the very start of this. But we've told them that we're doing this differently now, this strategy, where they're still getting a solid return that they're probably not going to get anywhere else. Double digit returns, right? And we're keeping them in the deal for 5 years on a piece of real estate.
The seller.
No, we're buying from motivated sellers with private money.
Okay.
Then we're taking down that um, house, right? And then we're creating a note with a end buyer on what's called a land contract, right? So we're creating a note, and they're going to pay us off in 30 years. So it's just like a mortgage, and they have an interest rate and a down payment and stuff like that. Um, but what we've done is that, this time around, because we've done a lot of this rent to own and land contract stuff earlier in our careers as well. Um, but we're doing it a little bit differently, where we'll own that real estate free and clear in 5 years if everything goes well with that end buyer and they continue to make payments and stuff like that, continue to take care of the house, right? And once 5 years happens, we own it free and clear, and then it's a free and clear piece of real estate. That on the other strategy of that, if we were doing a BRRRR strategy, it's going to take a little bit longer. Typically it'll take 15 or 20 plus years to own it, because you have longer term financing with a bank once you do the BRRRR strategy. You have a better interest rate than you would your private lender.
Private, yeah.
That's the give and take of this all. But it gets to your end goal. The end goal for any real estate investor is to own it free and clear, because that's when you have massive amounts of cash flow, hands
Can you
down,
walk can you walk
right?
us through like
Like,
a sample
so
deal of how this works?
yeah, yeah, I can. But hopefully that answered your question.
Mhm.
It did.
Um,
I want to see what I want to see you answer what John said, because listen, I'm not asking this because I know the answer. I'm asking this because I've heard people talking about it. I've personally never done it. Sounds
mhm.
kind of like like I've done seller financing in some of my properties. Sounds kind of like that. I bird sounds kind of like that. So in my mind, I'm just trying to get it. So I would love to hear an example of like what John said, if
And
you
it's
don't mind.
interesting. Yeah, and it's interesting. You
Yeah,
started doing that, got away from it, and now getting back to it. If I heard you
yeah,
Yeah.
correctly.
because guess what happened? We were doing this. That's how we got our start. We were doing this with rent to owns. Our mentors,
Yeah.
who own, now thousands of houses out west, were doing this right when the market started to kind of turn to the high side again, when it was going up after the downturn of the crash of '08, then 9, 10, and 11. You could buy cheap properties.
Oh God.
Then
Yeah.
those were good days, right?
Those are
So
good days. Those are good days.
10,000 and under properties, they're just hard to come by anymore. There's still some of these markets, especially if you're in a market like Ohio. You're not going to be in MSAs though. You're in major MSAs. You're going to be in the secondary and tertiary markets, for example, like a market like Toledo. So in Toledo, I can buy a house for all day long. It's going to be a C-class property, but let's just say I'm into this property for $30,000.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go create a note, or I'm gonna go find a private lender to lend on that $30,000. That's it. This house is livable. It's probably a 3 bedroom, maybe 1.5 bath in Toledo, Ohio, and it's in the C-class area, so it's a great starter home for somebody. And I'm gonna borrow $30,000 from a private lender. I'm gonna pay him 12% for 5 years, and that payment's gonna be around $667 a month.
And so
Okay.
the seller's getting their cash day
They're
one.
getting cashed
Yeah.
out.
Up front. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ideally, if you're a good negotiator, you're getting that property for, in the 20s. Okay. And you're borrowing it from a private lender. You give yourself an acquisition fee for your hard work of finding that motivated seller and paying marketing and having a staff or whatever. And then you're, wholesaling it to yourself. We go over all of that in our school program. And then so you're into this deal for 30K. Now, what we're doing is we're finding a tenant buyer, but it's a land contract buyer that's going to buy this house from us for about $80,000 to $90,000, and we're going to finance this end buyer for 30 years. They're going to pay us the market rent, which at that price point we're probably about $1,050. Okay, they're also going to pay for the taxes and insurance, which is probably another 50 to 70 bucks a month. So, they're probably all in to us for 1,200, let's just say. And we have that note payment to our lender at $667 plus the taxes and insurance there. So everything in between that is our arbitrage to keep. We're keeping that, whatever that is, probably like $300 or $400. I don't know. But we also are collecting a down payment. And in that
Okay.
market for that house, we're probably going to see $2,000 to $3,000. That's fine. That gives them skin in the game. We're going to take it off the purchase price. And so now it's up to us. Now, also, the caveat is that they are going to be handling on maintenance to their house, the utilities, your lawn, your
You're not buying a
snowplow.
POS though. You're buying a average condition
It's
home.
it's a starter home that's not updated. It's like grandma's outdated
Yeah.
house.
Livable, but
Livable.
not
It's got to be livable.
renovated. Yeah, got to be livable, but not renovated. Most likely at the numbers we're talking about
2020,
here.
not renovated
Yeah,
to 2025
but
standards for
not
sure.
that you need to go in as you yourself going in as the investor and putting another 10, 15, 20 mess up a lot of these numbers that you're talking. So you want to be in,
Right.
get the money, and out, no rehab. Okay,
No
so keep
rehab.
going.
Now, you can do that if you have good pricing, and so
Yeah.
if you want to put in a new roof, maybe you buy a house because you're buying from distressed sellers. So did they really keep up with their house? No, that's like, that's maybe 4 out of 10, right? Like you're gonna have houses where you might have to put a roof in, but everything else is good inside. Or, it's been vacant, so they messed up some of the electric and some of the furnace, maybe the water tank. Now, if you are getting investor pricing, you're gonna get that probably at 12 to 15K purchase, put in that rehab amount, and still go to your lender and be able to
Maybe get
put some money in your
45
pocket.
instead of 30.
Yeah. And maybe instead of 12% you give to your lender, you find a lender it's at 9, 10, or
Yeah.
11.
Depends on the market.
So,
Yeah, I got you.
right. So, and two, it also depends on the rent. Because in some other markets, the rent might be a little bit higher, the taxes might be a little less. And what we found is that these landlord friendly Midwest markets, we're typically seeing 3 bedroom, 1 baths go for, anywhere from 1,100 to 1,200, give or take.
Okay.
But so now what we've done is we've created ourselves some equity, really. It's a slower roll. It might eventually come true. But what we do know is that there's a ton of people out there looking for starter entry homes. A lot of them are in construction, and they take care of your homes, and they want an opportunity like this because some of these buyers end up putting a ton of work into it, and then the market goes from the ARVs from 80 to 90 to 120 or 130 or 140. That's all their equity to keep.
Yeah.
They pay us on time and they take care of the house. So it's a really good strategy. It's for the markets where your taxes are reasonable. They're not inflated by,
You got to
10,
have a
15,
certain amount
20%.
of spread in between. You can't let the spread get eaten by the lender interest. You can't let the spread get eaten by the taxes, by the insurance, and by any cost that you have to put in to make it move in ready. So
Yeah.
it's like common sense stuff. Like you need to have a set, like in this example, and I know it's just an example, you're talking, you got about a $500 spread in there, which is pretty juicy, you know. But again, you're doing it for 5 years. So then at 5 years, what am I
Mm-hmm.
doing? So I'm stacking up $500 a month essentially, and plus the 2 to 3 grand. So at that point, I'm making 6 grand a year cash flow, right? Times 5 years, that is the 30K. So are you setting that all aside, not spending it, and then paying that off in 5 years?
Our rule has always been to keep an emergency fund or a maintenance kitty in all these rentals, build it up for a minimum 5K so that if anything happens, you have that cushion to go and
Yeah.
they move out, they do something and you need to kind of make it livable again. And then you put that's being good at cash management so that you
Good
have
point.
enough to take care of your property. And then, anything after that, you can take distributions if you want. But really, with the rental play, it's it's a race to get it free and clear. Because after that, instead of 500 cash flow, you're probably looking at double that amount,
Yeah, but
depending on where the rent is and
yeah.
or the taxes are at that point.
But you're not
So,
putting the buyer on a balloon.
no, but we have done some arrangements with buyers that are like, look, I'll probably have the money in like 10 years. Could we put something in there where, I can pay it off sooner than 30? And we're like, absolutely. Why?
Yeah,
Because we're
yeah,
gonna find another house,
yeah. Makes
So
sense.
you can work with
Because you
these.
got like 50K in there, dude. Like you got 50K that you personally want out. Like I mean, so if they pay you off sooner, yeah, you get cash flow for like 3, 4 years, but maybe they build their credit up, they fixed
Yeah,
up the home, and they go
yeah,
to a bank and they get a loan on it, and
yeah,
they refi out. You get your money, and now you could go do 2 more of these or something.
right. And then I like this because it's not so management heavy either. You could
Yeah.
you can have them get set up on auto draft every month. Plus, you make it clear that look, this is your house. You got to take care of it. This
Yeah.
is working. That's working. And the reason why you're in here is because we know that you have the wherewithal to do all this to the house.
Yeah.
That's why I said a lot of our residents are in like the construction business or are of trades, and there are no people. We're not going to put old grandma in our house.
Yeah,
How
the,
do
the
you find
return
these?
the return
You know what
on
I'm
brain
saying?
damage from having those quality tenants is that just makes me feel way better about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you find those tenants? Are you marketing to them or?
Guys, it's pretty easy. A lot of we go to like Latino Facebook groups, clasificados Facebook groups. Just put in clasificados and in your town, and you got the classifieds and a bunch of tradespeople in there.
Nice.
Facebook Marketplace is still a thing.
Wait, 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 wait,
Craigslist.
wait. Let's dial this back. There's a place called Classificados.
Yeah, just type in clasificados Miami. There's probably tons of crap in there.
I'll do a search.
Or Columbus.
My
And
man.
that's where a lot of construction people are chilling and hanging out. And they do a lot of, people are there looking for houses to rent, to buy, agents, um, electricians. I learned this because when we found this strategy to work here, we had, a lot of construction, our own people that work on our houses get into these type of houses, and then they buy the house, they end up buying the house, and then they're like, yeah, I got my friend who wants to do this, I got my friend. I'm like, do you know where are these people hanging out? And they're like, here, this is where I'm gonna go and find because we were paying referral fees. And then they're like, yeah, there's clasificados nortes,
Hmm.
clasificados columbus,
There's
Toledo.
50
And so
55,000 people in the Miami one with 90 plus posts a day.
yeah,
Oh
super
man.
active.
Send me
And
send me
then
that link in the Slack channel, Carlos.
I got you. I
We're
got you,
over here,
DP.
dude. We're on side quest right now. I'm like side quest. Well, we do kind of the same thing in our for our mobile homes and mobile home parks. And you're right.
That's a nugget for you.
I know it sounds bad, but it's like Spanish with the Latino Spanish community. They fit that niche of like
yeah,
where they want that home. They have the ability to do the work, and they actually want to do the work.
they
And
do.
most of the time, they do have the cash for even a bigger down payment than the 2 to 3K, and they have the cash to do the repairs of whatever is needed. And they actually prefer that because they want to make it their way. They do the work with them and their friends. I mean, yeah, we've done it a few, but I didn't know about if there's actually a site called Classificados. We just do Facebook Marketplace, but I'm always
Yep.
open to
Groups. Yeah.
new groups that target primarily who I'm looking for.
Yeah, it's a Facebook group.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. The
I'll be
Facebook
posting in that
groups.
by next week. I'm having an ad out in like 3 different cities. So yeah, send it over.
Dude, it's legit. Yeah, it is the secret sauce. And then so they're in the house. They're not calling you like the everyday maintenance stuff, like something, we got rentals still on the
I love
just
it.
open market tenants, right? And something happens to their house. It's cold. It's getting cold now in Ohio, so it's the same shit. My furnace doesn't work. All right, well, did you get the furnace filter clean? Did you actually turn on the damn furnace?
Oh yeah,
It's
do you
like,
have gas connected? Are you paying the
yeah,
gas bill?
yeah, it's like I know you probably didn't pay gas because it was hot, and then you're just not using the furnace. Like, time to turn that on, and it's
Yeah.
part of your lease. So it's just less maintenance. You get a little bit of cash flow in it. They're gonna pay you 2 to 3K. It's just better quality person in there. You got home ownership mentality.
Yeah,
Um,
but
you
like
know,
I'm sitting here and I'm thinking there's a difference. So when we set aside the rentals, like I would classify this in the rental and the BRRR category, right? Like, cash flow generation, which I know is kind of what you're about too. But man, that's a slow grind. You still need capital and you
Mhm.
still need experience. And I never personally like it's not like I do any type of coaching, but still I don't recommend anybody to immediately jump into a rental thinking like this is how I'm making money. So do you still do flipping and wholesaling on the side? Like because whether
Yeah,
it's a 20K spread, 30K, 10K, whatever, that's still a check that can run your business, that can pay your bills, that can feed your family type of thing. So do you still do
totally.
that?
Yeah, we do, and so we get paid, a wholesale fee even if we buy a rental,
Yeah.
and that's how you deal structure with your private lender, and that's our PYF method, pay yourself first method. So you can, like when we were doing this business and just buying rentals we learned the hard way. It's like, well, when are these
Oh
things
yeah.
going to pay out?
I've done it.
We're like, all right, well, what if we structure it this way where, we still got to get deep discounts, right? Because the deeper discount that you get, the more you can get paid up front.
Yeah.
And so, we structured it in a way with private capital and we're upfront with our lenders. Like, look, we got to eat. We still got it because we got ourselves to pay. We've got small staff, and we're putting out marketing. So if we don't pay ourselves a small acquisition fee, the deal's still going to make sense. You're still going to get your payment every month, but we got to eat. There's going to be deals that are going to come out of your marketing that's just like, I'm not going to rent it out. Purchase price is too high. What do I do with it? I got to monetize everything that comes through the pipeline. So we're still doing wholesaling and novations. The stuff that we're wholesaling are just the ones that look. It's better for a fix and flip buyer, and it's just the ones that need too much rehab. Can we get a markup fee and pass it along to somebody who wants to take on something that big?
Yeah.
So it's still good to have that steady flow of money now. Whether it's you're buying a rental, you're getting money now by how you deal structure, or you're fixing and flipping. But we still do. I mean, we still do it today. There was a time there where um, we we didn't, and that was like in the beginning, and we quickly learned like we got to still flip and wholesale
Yeah.
as
You
we
have to
build this
pay
on the side.
to
You
pay
know.
yourself first, however you do it. Like you have to make sure you get you get paid because no matter what, like even that cash flow, I always tell people like whether it's in parks or a single asset like a single family house, no matter what, there'll be something 1 month that eats up your free cash flow. And so that's how we find our properties is like, they get how does a rental get dilapidated? It gets dilapidated because people get so used to living off the cash flow and their budget miraculously starts to match how much free cash flow they're getting. So there's never anything left over. And then a roof goes or an AC
Mhm.
goes or there's a leak and they patch it or don't touch it because, well, if I need 5 grand for that, that means like me and my
I
family don't
won't.
get that 5 grand, and it
Yeah.
just starts to snowball.
Yeah.
And that's when you get into trouble when you're living off of that cash flow dollar for dollar and you're not, like you said, setting up, a little side kitty or budget or purse or whatever, like a little envelope of money to repair those things. So it is important to do that. So you're teaching that in your school?
Absolutely. That's the maintenance kitty. We
Yeah.
teach 5K. There's other people that like have
We do it
more
off
reserves.
percentages. Yeah, we do it off
Yeah.
percentages.
That's
Yeah.
And
5K per property, right?
absolutely. Like for the houses that we have, and yeah, it's you got to have that at least in your account. Don't be living off your cash flow. And we're This business has given us a better insight into like cash flow management
Yeah.
from that standpoint, from a rental
But there's a
standpoint.
lot of people who teach that though. Like, oh, look at I'm living off my cash flow. What people don't understand is like they're living off their cash flow at a point to where the cash flow is far exceeding their lifestyle and
Hmm.
still setting up their reserves. They've been doing it for a while. People think
Hmm.
that's it immediately.
Yeah.
No, no.
So
Yeah,
what
guys, what's
I
up,
was gonna
John?
I was gonna ask, what's the benefit since I mean you personally or your company is holding that property for you said 30 years, right? Usually, or sometimes there's a balloon, but what's the benefit to having those assets for you as a business, as well as the equity? What can you do with those things as these kind of properties start to stack up in your portfolio?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a good question. What we've done is sometimes after it's, free and clear, now you have a free and clear property that, you could approach a bank and maybe you could pull out equity of that property to go into a bigger project, or you can just keep it as free and clear. Now you have
It helps your
better
balance
cash
sheet.
flow. Yeah, you have a better cash flow position. You'd be amazing once you don't need the money. The like money starts to kind of attract that. Like they
Money.
they like sniff it out and they're like, I'd give you a line of credit for 1 to 3 million, whatever you want, because you got
Yeah.
free and clear
Mm-hmm.
assets over here. You got
Oh,
cash in the bank that you've been stacking. So you could do that play, and then what do you do with the money? You could lend it out. You could go
yeah.
buy a bigger asset that's going to pay you an arbitrage the deal on a bigger asset, like maybe a mobile home park or a multifamily, small multifamily, whatever it is that you want. I like being the lender on things, and so we have a plan to help our students because we're going to be training them on how to find the property, fix it up, da da da, and be a part of the deal on the money side. So you could have it in those ways. That's
Yeah.
the benefit there that I see. But there's other people that are like, well, once I own it free and clear, I don't have to do anything anymore. I mean, I'm
Hmm.
like, well, what are you gonna do? You're gonna fill that void with something.
Yeah.
I
But
think.
that equity though matters. Having that equity in there. Too many people talk about just going to get a line of credit on it, but then your payment goes up, all that stuff. But it's like when you use it as your balance sheet to go buy,
Mhm.
like you said, a bigger storage unit,
Biggest,
whatever it is, right?
yeah.
I mean, they're not necessarily leaning on those assets, but they're analyzing your entire balance sheet should something go wrong and you personally guarantee the loan. Not a single, not like a line of credit on a property eats up all that equity. But like if you own five, 10 of these things with 50, like in this example, 50K a piece, and you do 10 of these over the course of a couple of years, you now have 500. And of course, appreciation will bring it up, but you got at least a $500,000 in equity on your balance sheet now. And now that easily parlays you into getting a big loan on a 10, I don't know in your market how many units, but a 10 unit, 20 unit apartment, a small storage unit, something, and that takes you into the next game.
Mhm.
And the patience of doing that. Like I see the benefits of this, not just the cash flow, but just doing this and building up your balance sheet, I think is a whole other level in real estate that
Mm-hmm.
so many people forget about.
Yeah.
Yeah, your net worth
What
matters.
what's
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
like the biggest challenge like teaching this to people in the community? Where do they have like the biggest like blind spots in this versus like standard like wholesaling? Because I know you guys have done like coaching and RIAs and mentorship for a while.
I mean, a lot of it's like, guys, there's a lot of people still chasing, the next shiny object. And so it's like, it's focus and
No.
patience. It's like, oh, I saw this guy do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you haven't even done your first deal. Let's focus on getting your first deal. This way you have some sort of credibility so that you have, done your first deal. And now we can start to build on that. But, I saw this guy, pick up a AI tool and the AI is doing the deals for him. Bro,
Yeah.
no, no.
Oh,
Did
this
they?
guy's doing this and he's got, yeah,
No,
and they're
no.
chasing it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like really, no. That's the biggest craze now.
Mm-hmm.
Which we're still we saw it 6 months ago. We're still trying it out. Like it needs to work before we can even start referring it out. Like we're in Ohio, man. People can tell that it's a robot on the other side, and they're gonna hang up on you.
Yeah.
But
So
anyways, um, yeah, like I think. I think those are the two biggest challenges is it's keeping them focused on the one thing until it's successful. And then belief in it in themselves, because they're coming to us with a bunch of doubt. They have enough courage to get into our school community, but they've got all these other, you know, just negative beliefs that they've carried. And so breaking through that, um, and it's almost like there's a ton of personal development that we teach them. It's because it's not it really is a big component of this,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
And you guys are here and listening. Everyone here has done some sort of personal development to get to where they're at, right?
Wow.
These guys like they've done a little bit, but not to the point where it's like it's going to change your give you enough courage
Well, it's
to
not just personal development. Like as you said, belief. Every day there's going to be some bad stuff happening. You're going to be depressed. You're going to
yeah
doubt. You're going to lose money or spend money and not make money. Maybe not lose it per se as a bad
yeah
decision, but your marketing dollars aren't going to get the deal. You're going to mess up on the phone and someone's going to snipe a deal. And every day you're going to possibly feel down. And how do you get through that? Because whether you're doing it part time or this is now full time, especially if it's full time, that weighs on you
oh yeah
heavy. Like, and you've been doing, that's why I said about your experience when you're doing it 15 or 10, 15, 20 years, then you don't have another job and this is all you've done. You've been through those ups and downs and you personally know what that feels like. And that can be very hard for people coming from a corporate job with the security of a check or from a serve whatever it is, a service
yeah
job, hourly wage, whatever, they're still getting a check. And then they do this and they don't make money right away.
Hmm.
That's a lot to continue faith, to keep the faith and to keep moving forward and not to pack it up, call you a scam, say it's all fake, it's not possible, and go back to their life. And, I mean, it's a lot. I agree with
yeah
you.
yeah
It's tough.
it
You
is it yeah go ahead,
go ahead.
Carlos.
I was gonna say, do you find that you're attracting people who are treating this like a part-time thing or a full-time thing into your
Yeah, that's a good
community?
question.
Yeah.
Because and I guess related to that, like, how do you combat the people who are like, I'd rather just wholesale because those checks look, you know, massive versus like long-term cash flow? Like, how are you having those conversations with people?
Well, it's, we've attracted both. So there's people that come in through that funnel where they're just wanting to do their first deal. And then we also have W-2
Mm.
clients who they've got a strong W-2. They want to have something on the side that can actually build what BP was talking about, like the equity and the, net worth up, plus get the tax benefits and stuff like that. So we have both. So when we're having our one-on-ones, because our coaching is one-on-one, I talk to them a little bit differently. The wholesalers are like, I try to tell them like it's more so like, hey, let's work on your sales skills. Let's
Wholesaling
get
is not real estate, it's
yeah,
sales.
it really is sales and marketing. And like, let's work on getting this. This is what you say. This is how to do it. This is what, this is how to be good at what I call it today when I was on a call today. It's like verbal jujitsu. It's what it
Oh,
is.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
this is what you say,
I call it chess,
Uh,
but yeah, yeah.
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 So, we had someone today that was talking about a contract that they signed, and then it turns out that these sellers are liars and they signed with somebody else, and like getting them
No, that
motivated,
never.
yeah, motivated, and tell them like, look, it's not the end of the way. This is why you have to build your pipeline, right? Because you want to be in this strong position of being okay with walking away from a deal,
Yeah.
and so there's
Desperation
a
instincts.
lot of mindset there, different type of mindset than the ones that's like they have something secure, they have money coming in. We're talking about higher level conversations about tax savings and
Yeah.
Yeah,
all over there in the W-2 world, and it's okay.
Yeah.
So we do both. We've got beginners, in betweeners, and then ones that are just kind of building legacy, and eventually, 5, 10 years from now, they have that option. They want to leave the W-2 or they want to keep the W-2.
nice.
So
When we did the pre-show, our viewers know we do a pre-show earlier in the week. You and I started talking, and you made a comment, right, that you were focusing heavily, I forget, but like years ago on wholesaling, and you had a big team, and you've parsed that down to focus on what you're doing now and giving back and all that. What was your height like? Whether you want to say it was the COVID times before, like when you looked at your apex or your peak, where were you in the wholesaling game? Just wholesaling, not flipping. Like when you were taking down contracts, how big was your team? What did your team look like? And
Yeah.
what did your revenue or contract deals look like?
Yeah, sure. This was probably 2000 and oh, by 11 to about 18, 20 people on our staff. We had a CEO, CFO, CMO, all that blah, blah, blah bullshit that you don't really need.
Hmm.
High
But you go to the
overhead.
masterminds. You go to the
Oh,
masterminds,
yeah.
and like, this is how you need to do it.
This is how you do it, guys. This is
Collective
how you
genius.
do it. You need all this shit.
Uh-huh.
All that shit doesn't matter. You ask people like, "What are you actually bringing home?" And they don't tell you. Like,
Oh,
"Well, we're actually breaking even, and I'm kind of living off the rentals, but the wrong way. I'm living off
Mhm.
the cash flow. I know how maintenance kitties." I'm like,
mhm.
brother, you are one deal away from
So
imploding. But yeah, to answer your question, we had staff of like 20,
how many
and
contracts were you doing?
a month, probably like 25-ish to 30 because we were doing a lot of turnkey properties back then. What that is we would pre-sell the property before we even got done with the rehab. And we were selling to companies that just sold cash flow and tax savings and appreciation. So that was like the 10 to 12 properties a month going there. Everything else was we were trying to also buy for ourselves. And then out of those, the ones that we didn't want, we would wholesale or fix and flip. So it was disastrous. Like it
You're
was
doing a
disaster.
lot, and for turnkey, it's basically for people. It's you're selling to the end landlord. Basically, they just went. So you have to have the properties in the right price category. So I assume that was primarily 2016, 17, 18. That was pretty heavy for
Oh yeah.
turnkey. Yeah,
Oh
guys
yeah.
were because a lot of the doctors and stuff became comfortable after 15 to be buying, and they went heavy into turnkeys, buying those 50, 100K properties, and just ready to go.
And then there are companies, I think they're still around, but they would educate them and
Hmm.
then pair up with the operators who,
I'm sure they're
Columbus is
still
such a
around.
great market,
Yeah.
So they'd go in our market, find the operators, check them out. And so I mean, literally, we'd get something in contract over the phone that day. Then our dispo agent manager would go and send it to the companies, and it would be in contract that same day. That's how it went. And our budgets were so high, and and as slowly but surely, our margins went from, 18 to 19K a deal to about $7,500 a deal. And it was scary right there because we had high overhead client fulfillment was such a big thing for us. Property management was in-house,
Yeah.
and I was stressed out. Same
Hmm.
with Dave.
And
And
that's why
so
is that why you parsed it down? The take
we
home
partially,
versus the stress of running that team and
yeah, because it was, dude, it was such an ego play, man. That's what it
yeah.
was.
John knows.
We got, we
John's
get
nodding
caught.
his head.
We got caught.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, oh, we're making more. No, we're not. Not making more. It's not all
Yeah.
about doing more deals to make more. That's the thing.
I know.
It's you can do less deals with less staff and your take home is a lot more. That's where we're at right now.
People don't get that, man, and that's one of the reasons why I got out of wholesaling is like when you start looking at your expenses and you're spending 50K plus on just operating, plus marketing and all this, and then you got salaries or yourself and take home, and you're like, I literally gross like millions of dollars and I walked home with a couple 100,000. I could have
It's like
just
not
like
worth it.
I could have literally just parsed it down, done the deals myself, and walked away with a couple $100,000 and
Hmm.
not had to deal babysitting people. And you know what I mean? Or show up to an office. I could have done this from my house with my kids. And you really start to weigh that.
Yeah.
But it's the shiny, there's a very shiny object syndrome. Or you see like the big guys, because there is playing devil's advocate here, there is the complete other side. Like when you get over that peak where, yes, the scale does start to pay you off and you literally aren't doing any work, but you really have to want that and you really have to push to get that. And when you're there,
And
it's
find the
all
right people.
and find the
Yeah.
right people and you have to want it because that in itself is a lifestyle. And is that what you want your business to be for the next like 10 years or 20 years or whatever it is that you're going to grind that out? But I knew guys, and that's why I was laughing at John when he was nodding his head because me and him talk about it. And like we know guys, I mean, they'll be grossing like 2, 3 mil, and they're walking home with like a quarter mil. And it's like, I know that sounds like
But
a lot of money to people, but not.
For the
I would,
effort and the
I
work and
would
the stress.
rather take, yeah, I would take that skill and go work for somebody else take my 200K, be done 9 to 5, be home at 5, shut down, not worry about work, anything, have my weekends off, not answering the phone. I mean, why do it for 250? Like, why go through that?
It's not worth it. I mean, look, you did it because you hear about these things. You go to these masterminds and you hear about, wow, and you're not asking the right kind of questions. Like, okay, yeah, they did 300 deals a year, but what did they take home? Like, what did you take home of that? And you dealt with 30 people every single day, every
Virtual
single
staff,
day.
admin,
Yeah. And you're
all this
taking the
stuff.
risk. There's a risk. You could get sued. You got to carry insurance. Yeah. You got to not only like you got
Payroll,
20,
taxes,
30. Yeah. You got all of that shit. Yeah. You got all of that stuff. It's like, is it really worth it? The answer is fucking no. My
No, it's
opinion.
not.
It's no. Like
Well,
there's
the
a
same thing happens with
easier way to
flipping.
skin the cat.
But the same thing, so we talk about wholesaling, but even with flipping, when I did flipping and like when I was starting out, it was all me. Like I was on site with my guys and my crews and I did everything. And if I made 50K, I made 50 minus gas, like I made 50K. You know what I mean? But then as you're scaling, I had like project managers, you know what I mean? And like, and then you have all this other cost built into it. And then you're like, wait a second, you're paying commissions and you're paying this and 50K. And the deals, like you said, in flipping, the deals got smaller and smaller, but you're still paying the same salaries. And you start to say, like, well, this isn't like it used to be. Like, I wish I was just
What
in my truck.
happened?
Yeah, I wish I was in my truck doing it on my own. I remember like 2010, 11, when I was flipping and like you had these spreads that were 20, 30K, but it was just me doing it myself. And I remember taking that check home and being like, I remember when I had my first 6-figure check on a house in South Lakeland and it was all me. And I was like, holy shit.
What I do?
Yeah. And what do? You scale. And then by scaling, you don't realize that you're just throwing the money away. Yeah, I get you. So you realize that. And so that's why now you've parsed it back.
Well, also too, you got events like freaking COVID. You got events like interest rates going overnight from 2.5 to fucking 6, 7. What do you do? Like, I mean, you gotta, you build all this up and think about it, guys. Like, all right, I'm building this up. Am I going to sell this fucking business? Who's going to buy this business?
Yeah, no one's buying.
Who's going to buy
I
this
argue
business?
with people all the time about that. Like, no one's buying. No one's. Oh, let me buy this wholesaling business from you.
They're going to be like, well, where's your recurring revenue?
Yeah.
Where do you have any fucking contracts with these, so-called buyers? No, they're going to buy from anybody on this that's listening here who's got the best price.
Yeah, there's nothing. No, there's nothing. There's nothing residual.
There's always that argument of like, oh, I'm going to build this business. I'm like, what are you building? You're building the wrong thing. It's not. It's a straight up operations. It's your operation.
If you die, I always said this, like if you die, that business, do you really think your kids are going to want to jump in and run your wholesaling? This is not the movie Succession. They're not running your media empire here. They're running you have to be built for it because it's not real estate.
No.
It is sales. It is marketing. And those people, as you know, come and go and steal business, and they're sales guys and they'll leave you. They'll take leads. You have to continue, always be hiring, always be hiring. And it's like, dude, there's so many other ways.
Yep, there is,
but it's a great entry. Dialing it back to give it its due, I would argue with anybody and say it is a great way to learn and to make money, but do not think that this is the end all
the rest of your life.
Yeah, that you want to be
sure
50. Yeah. How old are you?
44. Make sure you get some assets, man, because those are the ones that those will last. And they got the
I was going to ask you, did you guys keep your rentals?
And then you can, and then you can sell them. And then when you have that money, just make sure you got enough to pay freaking out your other partner that you don't know about. And then what are you going to do? And then go invest it in something else and live off the interest. Hopefully you find that vehicle.
Yeah.
But that's the best thing. Like if you just straight up are flipping, that is, risky. Yeah. Make sure you got some assets behind what you're doing.
Dude, a wholesaling company with a separate CEO, COO, CMO, head of HR.
But that was, listen, that was the
But that was
play.
common though. I
That
feel like
was
that's
the
what people.
play in 2016, 17,
Hmm.
18 for the people coming out teaching. I remember that's what I wanted because I was going from flipping and running my brokerage business and wholesaling on the side. And then like you start, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm hiring marketing team and I'm hiring this. And John knows because he was there helping me with my software stuff. And like there I am, and I'm like, all my money is like literally just like
Well,
I'm
what those
paying everybody.
companies,
Everyone else was making money.
what those companies don't do, especially the ones that are facilitating that, they're the business consultants. They're not even fucking looking at your P&Ls. They're not even looking at, are you even ready to fucking do this? No, it's a money grab for them because they're
Yeah.
making 15 to 20K. Then they have that monthly recurring. They're the ones making the money.
Yeah.
They're
And
not.
that's why they do it too, is it's just another avenue of revenue for them. And that's why a lot of wholesalers become coaches too, is because they need to kind of offset and make more money some other way. But again, there's nothing proprietary with anything in any wholesaling.
No, there's not. I mean, it's the same shit. It's, you're getting stuff in contract. It's like real estate is, there's nothing really proprietary unless you have a software that you go and it's super unique and that's a
Yeah.
software business. Or you do have an education business you can sell, platform or broadcast companies. But that's it. That's,
Yeah.
like that's why we're doing this because we want to eventually grow this education company to be able to potentially get some more enterprise value in it to eventually sell it. But we didn't know that. I mean, we were all just young, hungry hustlers in the
Yeah.
beginning. We don't know that.
What
You see
age were
something on,
you? What age were you when you came to this epiphany, roughly?
oh God, I don't know, probably 5 years ago.
So 30, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
5 years
Yeah.
ago. Yeah, because
I
I
was,
mean, no one, no, I wasn't even. I was so stuck in my little bubble,
yeah.
right? You just and because the bubble is like all your staff, and you got to take care of your people, and
Yeah.
you're trying to be the best leader that you can be, and then you're not having the right conversations with the right people and mentors. And finally, I did, and I'm like, aha, yeah, that's the truth of it. I've been hacking away.
Hmm.
I mean, thank God we have assets, but like, yeah, if you don't,
It's
and
an
you
ego
just have
thing.
the flipping this, it's the ego. You get stuck in the ego.
You don't want
But
to quit because then people judge you and they're like, "Oh, you couldn't hack it or you couldn't do it and you're not good at what you do." And that's not even it. But like you, so you don't want to. You don't want to quit and be the quitter. You don't want to be the one shutting your business down, which is why so many people lie about their failures in wholesaling or not making money and wanting to be coaching, and then they lie about what their business was and not that really they did it out of necessity or they did it because this makes more money than wholesaling and it's residual. And there's a lot of pride in that space. Yeah.
there
Which is
is a lot of ego in the rooms, a lot of ego. But yeah, that's that. That whole aspect of it, they don't really talk about that a lot. They don't. Still to this day, they don't because it's a straight up money grab for in these mastermind groups. They don't talk about that. They
yeah.
talk about so and so who did this amazing thing. You got to learn the strategy and build the team and add more overhead and you want to scale. Or this is how to scale. It's like they're not even talking about it in the scale. It's just you got to hire this person. Hopefully, you have enough in your reserves to hire them.
Yeah.
Like anywho.
But it, but like when you do that though, and it's like, oh, you gotta do this to get to this point. It's not just the money; it's the time that it goes into doing that. And it's like once you get to a certain point in your business, and you want to start novations and you want to start burring and owning rentals, and then like you said earlier, man, and this is not just you per se, but you're like, well, you got these deals coming in, and now like I got to make money on them because I spent marketing dollars. So now here you are as a marketing sales guy, and I always try to tell this on the show, like when we bring on guests, it's like everyone's got their thing, but there's a commonality that I see, and it's everybody. John's cat's just like popping into the thing. He's like, there's a cat pop. There we go. Fucking cat. Where was I going with that? It's you start, okay, well, oh, man, wholesaling's not working anymore, so like I can wholesale, but then I got to do some flips because that, okay, or I got to start getting them ready for turnkey, or I got to do some
Hmm.
novations,
Yeah.
or I got to do land contracts, or I got to do like whatever the next seller finance, like take them down on seller finance because I can't meet the seller's price, then find the buyer or take it down and then relist it as a, and now you start doing And that's where I was getting to, where I remember telling John, I was like, there's just too, like, everyone, there's so many things to focus on. It's like, that's not,
Mm,
like, you get lost in trying to do 5 things, and you can't do 5 things good. You can't
No.
be a great wholesaler, a great flipper, a great novator, a great BRRR person, a great man, like property manager, landlord. Like, you need to pick your lane, and you need something on the back end that pays you. And the only thing that really doesn't pay you on the back end is really the wholesaling and the flipping, because you have no assets, you have no enterprise.
transactional.
Yeah, every month you start back
Zero.
at zero.
Zero. Yep.
That
Yep.
sucks. Like,
It
literally,
does.
like, what do
There's
you
no
think
re
about?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's nothing locked in. Even if you find a hedge fund that's like, I want to buy from you, then are you going to sign a contract that
yeah,
ties you in on that? No. And I'm
yeah,
like, just show me the deal. Send it over what you have.
yeah. Well,
It's
even those
so,
those ended. I did that in
yep. They're not,
2011 to 12 and 13, and guess what? They then built their own teams, and they had their own agents, and they built their own and everything comes to an end. Or in 2020, we know the
yeah,
guys teaching selling to the hedge funds. Remember, that was the thing for like
that
in
was the
2020,
thing.
Oh yeah.
and that lasted for a year and a half, and then
Well, yeah, the hedge funds bought so much, they didn't
yeah,
have proper boots on the ground and imploded and had to kind of deal with all the crap that they bought,
yeah,
and then now they're like, they'll pop in every now and then after they've stabilized,
mhm.
right? And then they're like, we're buying again. Then they're going to shut it off. Oh, we're buying again. Like,
You
it's
can't build a
not,
business on that. Yeah, you can't build businesses on that because you can't rely on it. And I mean, there's so much pivoting, but it's stressful, and it's like, and I get where you're going with like the coaching and the land contracts. You're building residual income through both avenues, and you're saying to yourself, yeah, it's going to be a long, slow road to get to that. But if I had to spend years doing something, I'd rather spend years building something lasting than doing something transactional.
yeah, absolutely. Transactional it's just, it's a short term, and do you want to do this when you're
40.
60
Yeah.
now? Like, probably not. I mean, if you enjoy it enough, if you enjoy one part of it, like, okay, and then do it if you want. There, you might, you never know what's going to happen 20 years from now. Maybe there's something else that you want to do.
Yeah.
So you just, that's just the type of stuff that you got to think about when you're going into this, especially early on. It's like, what is the end play? Like, what do I, and have that end play is like owning assets. That's the real estate play, guys.
That's
You
it.
got to
That's
own
it.
assets. You got to own assets,
You got to
you
own
know?
assets, and it's not going to be easy, and it's going to take a while, but you got to
Mm.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want anything, that's the only lasting thing. Talk about legacy wealth. You're not passing on a flipping company's legacy wealth. It's
No,
like that ain't,
yeah.
uh,
I had
uh,
this old guy. When I first got into the business in like 2009, 10, and he told me, and he was like 80 at the, I wonder how, he's probably not here anymore, but he's a good guy, phenomenal, taught
yeah,
me a lot. But he always said, he's like, Brandon, like, you got to flip for fun. If you're flipping as your main business, he's like, you're gonna
For
have to flip
fun.
for, yeah. And well, at his age, he made money in oil and gas and real
yeah,
estate and land. He did it all, and he just loved tinkering around and flipping. And his thing of teaching me at that, I was 20 something years old. He was just like, if it's not fun, this is
don't do
not
it.
like something that you're going to grow into a business. But I was 25, like I was dumb, and I was like, you're. And I didn't say it to him, but in my head, as I'm like partnering with him on a flip, I'm like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm going to grow this flipping empire. Now I'm 40, and I'm like, the wisdom that I ignored from that
Mm-hmm.
man. But you look back on it and you say, yeah, he had really good advice. I wish I was smart enough in my 20s to understand that that wasn't going to be the play. And he was right about everything. You get that 50K and you spend it, and you're on to the next one, and you're now literally flipping to survive instead of flipping to stack money and buy assets.
Yeah,
And that was the moral of the story, not just fun, like having fun, but like flip it, don't spend the money, buy an asset, do stuff. But again, I was young.
yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know what I
Invincible. We
didn't
all
know.
thought we are invincible. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
be,
Mhm.
do what I want, man. I can recover. I can do this. Yeah.
That's why I get jealous of like the 20 some year olds and the young 30-year olds who have great mentors who
Oh
learn it at
yeah.
a young age, because there's a lot of regret on my end where I was like, man, I really wish I had all this type of social media videos stuff back then where I would have learned and listened
Yeah.
and actually built assets. And, I didn't build assets until like my mid 30s, you know what I mean? Like where I really was able to sell them to get into parks. And I just wish
Yeah.
I would have listened. I wish I
Yeah.
would have done it.
Well, hopefully the viewers are listening now,
Yeah.
and they can
Hope
do it a
so.
lot better than we did, you know. But
Well, here, let me share this big link because and let's kind of switch back into your
That's not
school.
the right link, John.
That's
yeah,
not the
who's
right
that?
one. I clicked that one.
David Olds.
There we go. There's the right logo.
We just
Thanks,
bet
Don.
you.
Give a little plug.
Um,
Give a little plug to David. It's all good.
Um,
It's all good.
so 2025, obviously,
Yeah,
like you're teaching people that, you're taking down properties for longer term. You're not getting a giant wholesale check at the beginning. I would assume though that you still have to teach a lot of the marketing and sales that
True.
a wholesaler would use. And
absolutely.
so, your kind of program that you're starting here soon is $500, to be able to get in, and start.
So, well, no.
Is
To
it
get
first
in,
year deal or?
yeah. So if you want to get into that challenge that we're gonna do, this link will get you to school. You're gonna get basically all our documents to do your first wholesale deal, all our marketing channels that we use, our business blueprint. I mean, wholesaling has really four pillars. It's it's marketing, sales, and lead conversion, and which is sales. You convert the lead, and then you got to sell the contracts. You got to dispo it, right? You get all of that there for $27 a month. Our challenge is we're going to get on here and actually do a deal with $500 and
Okay.
not use any fancy tools. Like you'll probably see us door knock. And why
Okay.
I say door knock? Because that shit works. No one likes to do the hard shit. And do a deal and show you that it's still possible today. Old school tactics. You'll probably see me put up bandit sign. And I used to do that. I don't do that anymore because I like
They worked back in
the
the day. They
yeah.
probably still do
They
nowadays because
still
That's how
do.
I did
They
my
still
first
do.
call
everybody
with Bandit
stopped
Sign.
doing them.
Bro.
That's how I did my first deal ever.
Yeah.
First call with Bandit Sign.
Yeah. I mean, and so we're gonna do this challenge. You guys are invited to that. We do have a higher level program, right? For people that want us one on one. We can talk about it. But this link will get you to that fast track challenge. Hop in there and you get all of our tools. We give it all away because really the sauce is doing it. There's people that are I don't know what they just want to like peek in. I mean, don't be that guy. If you're gonna be the peeker that just doesn't do anything, don't even get in here because we're gonna be calling you out because
Yeah.
we want results. That's why we're doing all of this.
So, yeah, you got
But
to do it.
you got to do it. I
You got
mean,
to
what
take
what
action.
what more than guys that Dave actually got in when in '05 in that first little run of
Oh
real
wow.
estate. Then it dipped. He's doing it longer than I have. But you'll see him negotiate. We've got tons of calls, him negotiating for wholesale deals, for novation deals, and you're going to get it all. And now you're going to be able to do side by side with us as we're going to say, hey, look, this is day one of this challenge. Here's what we have. It's $500. Here's how today went. Good, bad, ugly, and in between.
When are you starting
So,
it?
so it's we actually came up with this idea a couple weeks ago, and we are like, let's start the month off. So November
November
is we're gonna
1st.
do this. We're already kind of in behind the scenes, been planning this out. I'm in our, we're in a co-hatch, and so we're gonna be basically in the same room, this little podcast room, and going live and talking about it every single day. I have a daily recap of what's going on, good, bad, or ugly. Today may have been a good day, a bad day, or someone snaked us on a deal. But we're just gonna break it down because I think there's gonna be a lot of people that get value out of that because if someone's
Real?
it's real,
Yeah, it's the work.
like it's the work, and we're gonna do the work, and we're
Mhm.
gonna
Like
show what's
it'd be
possible.
good to even know. Let's say you can't do it, and you run out of $500. Like even that has value in it. And then you're
Yeah.
like,
What
well,
do we do
now I
now?
gotta put, yeah, I gotta put another 500. And now that shows you like, well, maybe 500 is not enough. Maybe I need 750. I always used to tell people, it's like you have no idea because you may spend $500. It could be $501 that you
Yeah.
get that first deal.
Mhm.
There's no promise on lead gen if you're converting one of 20 that it's going to be the first one or the 20th one, right? Like you don't know what
It's
that's
such
going
an
to be.
unknown. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna go right into the unknown, and you're gonna see us get it right into it. And
Yeah.
I hope you guys join. So there's the link right there. I think it's on wherever this is at. But
And that QR code.
I'm actually excited about it. It's kind of giving me this new like we're gonna show you the real the reality of it in today's market too.
Can
Um,
I uh
so
can I ask you your thoughts on like, so here you are teaching people, you've done everything. And when I say everything,
Done a
you know,
lot, not
yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah, exactly. You've done a lot of stuff in the real estate space per se. What is your thought on the current state of wholesaling, flipping? And I use that as an example because so many people get started in our space that way, whether they want to graduate to commercial or to
Yeah.
coaching, whatever. Like you start finding the deal, getting the deal, wholesaling a contract, whatever it is, or flipping a deal. What's your what's your thought process on where we're at in 2025 on the economy, the state of flipping and wholesaling and houses in general? Like where are you at in your mind?
Well, I think I think that the use of AI is going to continue. That's one thing that top of mind for us because we're going to try to implement it in a different way though. Right now it's more so on the follow-up of things, on the things where we're going to test it for calls and see how conversion rates are. Um, I think the state of like the laws, I think it's just going to come down even harder. So what's going to probably happen is the increase of transactional, until they take that away. I don't know if they will, but so we're gonna have to
By
like actually
transactional
take
taking
property, yeah, closing on it and then selling it,
Double
um,
closing.
double closing. I just think that, like I think there's like 3 or 4 states now. I think Washington's starting to crack down. You got to get a license.
Oklahoma, yeah,
Oklahoma,
South
South
Carolina, yeah.
Carolina. Yeah. So you got to be, I mean, you're just gonna have to be more. You got to learn to be more resourceful, and you're gonna still be able to do deals. You just the resourcefulness is gonna come out, and so you're
Mhm.
gonna see some things happen. Someone's gonna figure it out. We're all resourceful entrepreneurs. Does this business, if you've been in long enough, makes you resourceful? We're gonna be able to figure it out. But I see that happening. The use more of AI, more regulations coming down. We're gonna have to take deals down and then resell. So we're gonna have to tell our buyers like, look, this is how we're gonna have to transact. Um, I see probably less and less use of agents, unfortunately. Um,
Really.
I I just think that a lot of this stuff that gets more automated takes them away, but I think it might be just more market specific, but because there's some markets where they're gonna reject that and they want the face to face. So that's kind of what I'm seeing right now. That's top of mind for me. Um,
I think you
but
might be right. Is like what I've always said is I think the middle class always looking to save a buck will
mm,
not use an agent. If I can buy a house without an agent, save the money, and I can see it all online, whatever it's going to be, online, virtual, AI, all these things, and automated lock boxes, all this technology. I think those people, it's always the middle class that will save the money and lower class. Whereas I think investors and wealthy people will still want somebody to do the work for them because they can capitalize time and money. But I do see what you're saying. Like those properties that 200, 300, 400K middle class property, whatever it is in your market. I mean, 500K could be middle class somewhere, but I think those ones, yeah, I could see realtors just what do you like what do you need them for to a certain point when everything is on to show a home? Well, lock
yeah,
boxes. To
lock
market,
boxes.
Zillow. I mean, realtors don't really market properties anymore like we used to. We
Yeah,
don't control, and I say we because I am licensed, but we don't really control the flow of information like you used to a decade ago. So
yeah.
yeah, I could see what you're saying, but to caveat that or like to rebut that, in some
Hmm.
states, I forget what state it is, that state was trying to make it illegal to do anything without a
Not a
realtor,
realtor.
without
Yeah, I
a
saw
real
that one.
like they're trying to make
Hmm.
realtors necessary by the NAR is fighting for them to you need a realtor involved in a transaction. Otherwise, it was wild. It was like if you don't have a realtor, the seller could basically cancel your contract at any time and go with somebody else. I got to figure out what state that was, but there was, and I was like,
Probably, dude.
wow,
That's probably out west.
it's probably a Democrat state, whatever it is, but yeah, blue state,
Ah,
probably Minnesota, but yeah,
yeah.
I'd have to see what that was, but I see where you're going with that.
Yeah.
Um, have you tried out? Have you seen Steve Trang's
I've
voice?
seen it. I've seen it. For the appointment setting, it sounds really good. I've seen. And then once you click on something, then you got all these other companies.
The
I've got
algorithms do their work.
algorithms, and I got some demo calls coming up. I've got a guy who's also kind of building one out. And I just got to see it work. You know what I mean? Like, how is the masses? We already got bad cold callers calling with bad accents, and then they're hanging up on them. And then how are they going to respond to roboticness and like this? Like, yeah, they sound good. Okay, they sound good, but see, people will be like, "Who the hell is this?" Like,
Mm-hmm.
am I getting this call? Um, so I just want to see it work in Slowpoke Town, Ohio, and see
It's,
see how
it's,
see
I was
how
just
see how
thinking,
it does.
I was thinking about RJ out there door knocking, and he's got like a Tesla bot with him, and just like
Yeah, yeah. Like, hey, go
just
get the
knocking.
contract.
Yeah, and he's sending the Tesla bots down the way, and it's just like I was walking my dog yesterday, and I saw a robot, like one of those little lawn mowing robots, and I was like, dude, like this is it. This thing's like mapping out this yard. And I watched it for like 5 minutes, mowed this yard with nobody, and then yeah, and I was like thinking, like, yeah, you could see if you have the money, you start buying Tesla bots, and they're knocking on the door holding contracts.
God,
Mm-hmm.
oh
That'd be
my
wild.
God, I
That'd
didn't
be
even
wild.
think about
That'd
that.
be
Oh,
wild.
I didn't even think
Yeah.
about that. Yeah, that could be the play. I
Could
mean,
you
I don't.
imagine an old lady answering the door and there's like this robot trying to shout
Yeah, they're like,
cash? Like,
what do you? What? Like, who
yeah.
are you? I'm not even answering the door.
So you
Uh,
see it becoming tougher and tougher, um,
I do.
but still, but still possible. Do you see the advent of? There's a couple guys out there preaching that it's the day and age of the large conglomerate style wholesaler. You know, 10 million, 20 million, $100 million type of company, just mass hitting things using technology and all these services, and they're going to take over. Do you believe that that's going to happen or that's in the future?
I don't know. I don't think I know those companies. I don't know if that is I don't think that's gonna happen because it's all about like until they figure out maybe they have the boots on the ground aspect of it. Because there's still a little bit of that like people component in what we do. I don't know. If that goes away, and you're right, like the agents go away, and then there's just it becomes this like transaction where you just click, click, boom, I'm done. I don't know.
I
I
mean,
don't.
we saw that with the offer pads and all that. Like, I think there's sentiment in the market where sellers are looking for something simple and easy.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that had its own problems.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they definitely biffed
I mean,
it.
look at what Zillow tried to do with their platform, which failed because
Yeah,
their
they lost
price.
billions. But they might have been too early. Like there's a lot of arguments saying that
Yeah,
they were just too early to the game. And even when that was happening four
yeah,
years ago or whatever, they
Hmm.
didn't have nearly the technology. It's funny what's has been advanced in just 4 years alone, but
Yeah.
like they didn't really have the tech to do it, but they did fail miserably.
billions.
Billions just
I,
lost. But I got beat out. You know how many? I mean, I couldn't even keep track of how many offers I got beat out on by OfferPad and Zillow. I mean, it was like almost like one out of every whatever calls. They're like, "Oh yeah, we're going to OfferPad," there, and you can't beat them because their numbers were just wild,
Yeah.
yeah,
just
But if
wild.
somebody comes in with the right numbers and can handle, I mean, I think that they weren't offering the right amount and then they had problems on the back end, but the sellers were fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
Sellers were happy with it.
I think there'll always be. Do you think there'll always be? I think there'll always be mom and pop flippers. I don't think that'll ever go away.
no, I don't think so. I think who wins is that person in their market, boots on the
Ooh,
ground, that can connect with the people, right, face to face. I think there's still like you're saying with like it's the middle class people. Well, who are our sellers? Middle class
middle
Hmm.
class
people.
people. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's
So strategy is stay local in your market. Who is that does the TV stuff?
Rick Howell that we had on.
Yeah, we had Rick
Yeah.
on. He does I don't know if you
He's
know
in
him.
Ohio too, isn't
Yeah, I
he?
was about to say he's up in Ohio. Rick Howell.
yeah, he's
But
up in Toledo, I believe.
yeah, but he's
Yeah.
got a great local presence with his commercials and stuff. But you think
Yep.
about it, like, yeah, I can see where you're saying you become known. by
Mhm.
the not the neighborhood but the town or the municipality or whatever, and like, oh, that's Rick. Maybe it's he's got the stuff on his truck, he's got a local office with a billboard or a sign, and the trust factor gets built there. I could see that surviving. Plus, Rick does a lot of the flipping, so it's like I think local flippers will always be able to make money. Do you think the nationwide stuff goes away?
I don't think it'll go away. I think there's still, solid, like the one solid salespeople that are just able to focus on their problem and how we can solve your problem, and then say, like, we've helped thousands of people nationwide with these problems. You know what I mean? It's like all about the salesperson. I don't think that'll go away. I just think that in some areas it'll be tougher because it's like a market specific deal. I have
Yeah,
to get a license there. I have to now get a license and close
yeah.
on it and wait a 30-day window. Like so I just still think, man, like that local guy is gonna come out ahead, low overhead, um,
I
not
think
having to
it's
deal with like the huge staff. That's who's gonna win.
yeah. Like the more we talk about it, right, I go back to like my early days and I'm like, and especially if you're married and maybe your wife works or whatever, the husband works, whatever it is,
Yeah,
and like you have some type of income coming in and then you are over there doing a flip by yourself with a crew that you work with and you're doing like 2 or 3 a year. Yeah. You're doing 2 or 3 flips a year and you're making like 40K net on a flip. Your wife's working, making 80, whatever. Maybe she's a nurse or something, or
right.
office admin or whatever it is. You That's life-changing money. I
Hmm.
think the days of what you and me might have got caught up in back in the mid 2010s and early 20s of trying to build a huge team. I think that's the trap.
Yep.
Like that's where you lose your money, not lose it, but that's where your money gets sucked away. So yeah, I no, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's not to scare people away and say, hey, you
No.
can't make money in this. It's you got to
No.
be smart about how you're making the money and don't be tricked trying to be 50 deals a month or 20 or 15 deals a month. Try to focus on just getting a couple and keeping
Yeah.
all of the money
Yep.
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
stacking it. Would that be like a big takeaway for you of like
For
something that
sure. Like, be lean. Keep it lean as long as you can. Right.
Mhm.
Keep it lean, and utilize B2B business style relationships. You know, if you got to own 10 properties until you can maybe get a manager involved, or maybe start building some systems around managing your assets, great. Well, you can do that with the AI component that everyone wants
yeah.
to use, right? And do that. You got to be keeping it lean and stack assets, guys. And always and focus on your RGAs, revenue generating activities. Don't get so, uh, you know, caught in shiny object syndrome and think that consultants are gonna give you the best. I agree in, like, in investing in yourself and knowledge and stuff like that, but before you start investing into building out your team so that you don't have to do anything anymore, that's a trap.
Mhm.
That's a huge trap. Make sure that you've done everything in your capacity to to really maximize what you're currently doing now before you start throwing money to the wall to people for your problems to people. You got to focus on making sure that what you have currently going on now is optimized. It's done so well that now you can maybe hire somebody to do it
But
with you.
you're taken care
But
of. You are,
yeah,
yeah,
but
you and
yeah,
your family are secure. Don't try to grow through scale while you're still trying to pay your bills.
no,
Yeah.
and then also, what are you like? You gotta focus on getting assets to you and or your partner, like whatever. If you're a one man show, you have assets, because that's the longevity of this. If you're focusing on growing out your flipping company to do more flips, that's not gonna. mm. You gotta focus on, yeah, I'm gonna put this flip money into these assets because I can have that. Like that's the long game play. Not, oh, I'm gonna have all this cash from the flipping and it's gonna work out, like, like it's with all this staff and stuff, like, oof, that's dangerous. So that's the
Staff and
play. Like,
cars
you
aren't assets.
you got to stack your assets, man. You got to stack your assets, because that's when you when you are in hustle mode, especially earlier in your career, because that's what it takes. Your hustle mode, and you lift your head up, and you don't have any assets. We've got to look at what you're doing, and ask yourself, what am I doing right now? Do I have too many people on my team? Do I need to cut so and so that I can then put the money that I'm making into some assets? That's what you should be asking yourself versus I'm gonna get more people and they're gonna just be running around and getting more deals for me, and now I don't have enough
Literally
for
working to
myself.
pay. Yeah, you're literally working to pay other people, and if you don't do the deals, you're what is that? It's like a golden handcuffs or
Golden
whatever. There's a
handcuffs.
say,
That's it.
yeah, there's the saying for it, and it's like
They
you
call it the
can't.
real estate rat race, man. It's a new
Yeah,
rat race that you're in.
yeah, yeah.
So
How hard was it to lay off your team to pivot? I'm sure that was
it's
emotional.
very, very, very hard, man. No one likes
Yeah,
to, I'm not a psychopath. Like I got, feelings and empathy, and it's tough, it's tough. But then
feel
you
responsible
also
for
have
them.
a,
Yeah,
yeah, you do. It's like, it's almost losing like a little family, but
yeah,
you gotta go with what's best for you and your family, your
yeah,
family at home. Um, but that's probably one of the toughest things for me, at least as an entrepreneur, is like that having to let somebody go because you feel like, you let them down more so than
yeah,
Yeah.
than,
Yeah.
anything
yeah,
because they had dreams and aspirations. So
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, this was eye opening, man. I mean, I think it's pretty cool how you pivoted. I do. I think not enough people talk about that. Too many people, they want to talk about the coaching aspect, but not about the need for the pivot. They want to talk about going into the next, shiny object per se, but not about the need to do it or
mhm.
why they did it. They don't really reflect on kind of where we've come full circle on this about size, scale, process, staying lean, and all that stuff. And they make it seem like, the next big thing. And really, it's more about survival, staying in this game long term, building up your cash flow and your assets, taking care of you and your family, your wife, your kids, whatever it is first, covering yourself before you start trying to really get into the trap of scaling.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for having me. I know that's the biggest thing in our space, especially the real estate space. You just because there's a lot of ego, like I said earlier on. It's like there's a lot of ego, and then sometimes you get caught chasing the wrong things. You know, it's a numbers. Like I want to be able to do 100 deals, a year. And I'm like, whoa, man. Okay, well, why?
Yeah.
Okay,
Why? The why.
not
Exactly.
asking yourself the right kind of questions. There is a book out there that, I don't know, but it's all about asking yourself the right kind of questions.
Yeah.
Um, I would read that book. I'm sorry, I don't know what that book is called because
We'll have to get
uh,
Dave on the follow up interview to
yeah,
give it
yeah,
to
yeah,
us.
yeah. Before you read the book everyone reads, which is Traction, I think that book
Traction,
is,
I think Traction was probably the biggest negative to my business that I
bro.
ever read because it
Yeah,
it it was pitched in a way of like I got to do this, but when you start reading it, you get so and it's a great book. I'm not saying it's a
yeah,
bad book. I'm not saying to do it, but it's not necessary for a
I agree.
wholesaling business. But you read it and you're like, I need org chart, I need level 10 meetings, I
Yeah,
need these things, I have this chart thing. We all have to fill it out on Mondays, and like, it's like
yeah. The only one that
just
capitalized on that was the guy that read the
Gino
book
Wick.
and
Yeah,
had the fucking all the damn consulting agencies out there
yeah,
that made the money.
yeah. I
Like
mean,
that aren't asking the right kind of questions. Like,
yeah,
are you even set up to do this? Like, what are
yeah.
we
Do you have
building
enough
this business
money? Like,
for?
is your revenue? Yeah, like it's
Yeah,
you
you're not
need
asking
the
the right
revenue
questions.
to do that. Not we had Vbrock on Matt Vbrock, and he was talking about that the trap of focusing on operations first before sales. And like so
Mm-hmm.
many people want to build the right operation and team and structure and company, but like and he talked about like how he made those mistakes and it's like no, it's sales first. Like you need to focus on sales before
Yeah,
anything else. Yeah, you don't need a org chart and a CMO and a CFO and a CPA. You don't need all
yeah.
these things if you're not making money, bro. Like you just. But I did those things. I made those mistakes. It's like
Yeah, I
yeah,
did too. I did too.
Oh, if you could only go back and claw back some of the money that you've spent on stupid. Like, I've never lost money on a deal itself, but I've lost a lot of money making stupid decisions, trying to scale a business that wasn't supposed to be scaled. That I wish, when I look back, like, oh, I wish I could just take that decision back and save that 50K. I wish I would have not spent money on hiring that guy for a year to not work out. Like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude. John, you got that? We have a question. John,
We do have a question. I am ready to go.
John's ready. Okay. Carlos, this is your thing. You lead it off, bro.
This is all of our thing. And also, RJ, thank you for coming on, man. We'll be pumped to have Dave. We're gonna get him scheduled. So the other partner,
Cool. Yeah.
RJ's
Hell
partner,
yeah.
will be a good contrast. So this is a good thinking on your, kind of see how you think. And the game is this: imagine yourself in a gladiator style arena. Your question here is you have to pick two of these groups to defend you, and you guys are a team. You guys can communicate. They know what the mission is, and the rest are going to attack you.
They're trying to kill you, bro.
They're trying to kill you. You and your, the two groups that you choose. So the options are 50 American bald eagles, 10 crocodiles, 3 grizzly bears, 7 bison, 1 sniper that's right next to you. He's not like, he doesn't have like an advantageous vantage point. 15 gray wolves, 10,000 New York City rats,
New York City.
5 silverback gorillas, or 4 lion.
Damn, guys.
Take a moment. Take a moment.
Yes,
Think about this, because your life literally depends on it.
Look, I will tell you. So, what's my first pick? I looked at everything else in here. My first pick is the damn crocodile. You know why?
Why?
These motherfuckers have been around forever, since the fucking dinosaurs. So they know a thing or two about survival. Then the gorilla, then the fucking wolves, like all these, they haven't been around long enough. They've got the experience of being around, like, since the dinosaurs. At least that's what they
are
tell
like
us.
Little dinosaurs. They are like
At
little
least that's
dinosaurs.
what they tell us. They're the fucking dinosaurs. So I'm hanging out with the guys that know how to survive for millions of years. That's my first pick, right? And then my second pick is this motherfucker in the middle, this sniper guy.
Okay.
Because humans, and I'm saying this guy's a human being. Humans, the right kind of human is also very resourceful enough to survive. Like, so I'm all about surviving. Those are my top 2 picks. I don't know about the gorilla, the lion. Everybody else is about to be picked off by my sniper. And then the hard to kill crocodiles. Those guys have been around forever.
We've never.
So
yeah, I love the thought process.
We've never, ever, ever, ever had anybody pick the crocodiles.
Really?
You're the first person to pick the crocodiles.
Okay.
We usually, I think I'm the only one who picked the gorillas first time I ever did it. But usually it's the rats. We had someone pick, like, was dead set on the timber wolves. Somebody was dead set on the bison. Like, those are like the 3 that, like, and we had someone who was really like harping on the eagles coming from the sky. But we've never had somebody pick the crocodiles. But I get your logic. The real thing here becomes the human that you picked, because like, once he goes, you got one of them.
I think this guy. Hey, he's resourceful enough. I guess I think when I relate to this guy in the middle, that's me.
He's connecting with him on an emotion, like me and this guy.
Me. And I can bet on myself because I have, like, I'm very resourceful. And I know this guy is just one guy, but I bet you this guy's resourceful as hell. I'm only one.
Who's he picking off first?
You're saying this is the type of guy that's going to survive in real estate moving forward. Someone that can be
probably, yeah. Like, go with the crocodile. They've been surviving since ever ago, millions and millions and millions of years ago. All these other guys are kind of newcomers. You know that the eagles probably was a dinosaur at one point. If they say birds were dinosaurs, so they're just new to the mix. But this crocodile, hey, I've been around. I know. I've got the experience. Everybody else
attack like,
picked up.
Would they just kill these
They don't
other
need
guys
to
from
attack,
biting?
man. No one's attacking them.
Those be chilling.
Who's messing with the dinosaur? Who's messing with the dinosaur?
Listen,
The wolf? No.
I think the gorilla is going to come over and basically grab it by the jaws and rip his jaw in half and just
Yeah,
like,
but because you saw King Kong. King Kong
yeah,
did that.
okay.
That gorilla is gonna be bit on the leg, be dragged into the river, and drown.
Whoa! Where is this river? We're in a coliseum, bro.
There may be a little pond in there. Maybe each part of the Coliseum has like there's a little snow for the
It's like
wolves.
it's like Biodome. He's got like 5 ecosystems he's going through.
That can make
God.
sense.
Oh, dude. Well, listen, bro. I appreciate that. I really hope your choice is good. If this ever happens one day, would you find yourself in this arena and you got to make this decision, you're gonna thank us for having already thought this. You'd be like,
Right.
I was on that one podcast.
This is a great question, by the way.
Yeah.
This is a great question. I love this.
Oh, all right, man.
Cool. RJ, well, thank you so much for coming on, dude. Guys, hit the
Thank
QR code there for Fast Track. RJ's Fast Track Real Estate Coaching with the Cream Group. Dave Pearchin's the other piece of that. So definitely check it out. What about socials? Where's the best place to check you out? Stay part of the journey, even if
Go
you're
to
not in the
IG. Go to
community.
my IG. Yep. IG is at RJ Pepino. So just at RJ Pepino. Send me a DM if you're coming from wherever you're seeing this. I answer my DMs. So let's
Cool.
connect. Let's
Cool.
connect.
Love
It won't be AI.
Yeah.
It will not.
It'll be
It will not be. It will not be. Guys, thanks for having me on. I hope this was
Yeah.
was amazing and your audience learned something.
think they did.
Not just the last piece about the
Right.
crocodile being around since the dinosaurs, but everything in between there, business and scaling and pivoting and all that. So
No,
hopefully
I
it
think
was
you were very upfront. I think you were very, very upfront with everything, and not hiding stuff, but telling the truth about what it really is. And I think that's what matters. And I think that's why people need to scan the code, go check it out. I mean, to learn from. So if I had a choice of if I was learning from someone in the business 4 years or 15 years, I'm going 15 years, bro. Every day of the week, I'm going with the guy who's still around. You're like the crocodile.
Mhm.
Yeah.
the crocodile.
You're the
bro.
crocodile. That's his new logo.
That's what I'm
In a
saying,
month,
bro.
we're gonna see his class is gonna have a crocodile logo on it.
The Cream logo is a crocodile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
Awesome.
Love hanging
Awesome.
out with y'all. Love
Thank you
hanging
very
out.
much.
Likewise, man. Thanks for coming on.
Appreciate it.
All right.